Who asked the question seemed to be an MBA student. So
no, it's good. I'm glad to have you here.
Anyway, my question is, so a couple of years ago, a lot of companies seem to claim themselves as Uber for X, Y, and Z. And these years, a lot of companies, I realized, claim to build something. They claim to build blockchain for X, Y, and Z. And I heard that Goldman Sachs just started to hire for cryptocurrency trader. Some say it's literally our future. Others say it's just a hype bubble. So I thought, I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on this cryptocurrency and blockchain technology?
Listen, I'm no expert in blockchain technology. I'm not bad at markets, but I'm no expert in blockchain technology. I'd understand it, but I'm not great at it. As far as cryptocurrencies are concerned, listen, I view them more like gold with the trading of them. It's more like a gold type, value. I don't see the value above what it costs to mine them, at least the way I view them. And I think the value. There's another value of them the value that should work with them to a certain extent is who can make the fastest transaction times, or which currency can do that. Is Ethereum better than Bitcoin, or whatever the new thing is that I don't know about is better than something else? That should matter, but it doesn't matter as much, and there's some different speculation. And sometimes what drives that is the potential of capital controls in one part of their world or another, whether it's China or someplace else, can drive the value or of Bitcoin or not around the world. And you see these different markets with different values in Bitcoin. So I'm not. I think that it's harder. I think it's hard to analyze the price movements of Bitcoins to me. Why it's going up or why it's not going up. It's obviously demand and supply reasons. And there's some reasons for some of the things I just talked about. So there is some analysis to why that stuff may go up or down. But I'm not a big believer in the fundamental value of the individual currencies above that mining value. But that doesn't mean they can't trade. As far as being on a trading desk at Goldman or something like that, if you can be on a trading desk and you can be a good trader because you're looking at the information that moves that market, and you can figure out how, in this case, it may be some of the other things we were talking about, at least what I think is the other things that might move it, whether some, something goes bankrupt or somebody's going to steal your money or whatever it is, that can move. If you think, there are some reasons why the thing does move around. So if you can be somebody that can sense those things or get that information, it's kind of basics of trading. So if you can get in a good place, Goldman Sachs is a great place to work for 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years, in my opinion. I once said I'd rather work at McDonald's than Goldman Sachs after that, but that's another story. I can tell that story why. But so I think if you can get in there, you can get in that desk. If that's your opportunity, it's not a bad place to be. But I don't really love Bitcoins or Bitcoin trading or that sort of thing. To me, and I don't really love gold either, by the way. I would have a little bit maybe in my portfolio. I actually do own a little bit of Bitcoins because my son made a lot of money at some point trading Bitcoins, but I think I made $200. So I actually bought Bitcoins at the absolute low of Bitcoins. I think I bought Bitcoins at 200 or something. That had to be 200 handle. That had to be near the low of the recent prices, right? I sold a little bit and took a little bit of money out, but I only put in like $50 or $20 or something like that, so I can't remember. But anyways, I think that's kind of what I view them as. So.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Tepper. We really appreciate it. My name's Anna, and I'm a second-year MBA. And I had a question from the entrepreneurial-minded among us. What were the early days like when you branched out on your own? And do you have any wisdom to share? Obviously, things have turned out well, but from the early days, were there challenges or lessons learned that you could share with us?
Yeah, listen, I'm just trying to think the lessons learned or whatever. I think some of the things I talked about, you're going to make mistakes, and you just keep driving through them. If you have a good idea, you know what you're doing, and you have a basic knowledge of what you're doing. I just think it's something to persevere, I guess, would be probably the biggest thing when you're an entrepreneur of something or starting a new business. Because we actually started out fairly fast, but I don't think everybody starts that way. So depending on what your business is. But we had different growing pains we hired the wrong administrative assistant. I made her cry, I think, so, because I was just asking her to do some Word thing and she didn't know how to do Word or something like that. So, but I mean, it's employee questions and that sort of thing. I think I probably would have been a little bit more careful in how we hired some people off the get-go. Eventually, you get a lot better at it. But that's probably not an uncommon thing, And I will tell you this. I mean, to me, one of the just in general, one of the greatest undervalued assets in different places are those sort of people, like administrative assistants and those people that can really help you smooth things in the business. People think they're a little bit less needed now because of the way the world is, but I think they still do a very important function. But I just think just hiring people in general is something that you can't be careful enough about when you start out. So,
thank you.
Sure.
So we only have time remaining for one more question, unfortunately, so we'll take the last question now.
Okay. So Dario, my first year MBA, and as we look and see large segments of change, both geopolitically, technologically, economically, what skills do you think will be important 5 to 10 years out that maybe aren't important now or haven't been as important in the past as we all look to face our careers in business?
Wait, can you just repeat it one more time?
What do you see as skills that will be important in the future that maybe haven't been as important in the past?
First, I want to just comment on your beautiful haircut. Just want to say to get that out of the way first. So, it's hard to know, what things will be in 10 years out. I mean, it really is difficult. What will be changed? What won't change? I mean, because things drastically change, and it's really hard to know some of those things. But I think if you're looking for an answer of what you're going to do in the future, I think you get a basically great grounding education, and you'll be able to navigate whatever change there is. Because you don't know what is going to change. In fact, one of the things when we built this quad, we built this building, one of the things I insisted on, I guess I insisted on a few things, but is that this building is flexible, because just what you're asking. I don't know where we'll be in 5 years or where we'll be in 10 years. So that building had to be flexible for different changes in how things get taught or what needs to be taught. Because the only thing I do know is things will change. And there will be changes, and you have changes in your business, and you have changes in things that you will do. So I just think you get this great foundation that you can get here, and I think it will help you no matter where things go. But as far as where they'll go in 5 or 10 years, you can see some of the same trends that I see now. I mean, the question is what happens socially for some of those changes. You could think there's going to be changes that there's going to be, there's not going to be a need for truck drivers. Well, there may be a revolution in this country before there's not a need for truck drivers. You understand what I'm saying? So it's hard to know what actions happen, what different things may happen. And, what I do generally is try to figure out what can happen in different situations. But if you're just prepared with good things, continually try to learn things from wherever you go, I think you'll be ready for whatever changes come.
All right, thank you. Let's go Pens.
Awesome. So with that, I'd like to conclude this afternoon's event. I want to start off by just saying thank you to everyone that joined us today. The time did flow by, and students do have their evening classes, unfortunately, so we do have to conclude now. David, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
It's been truly a highlight.
So was it better than the sun? Was it better than being outside in the sun or not? That's the question, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Yes is the answer.
Yes. I think I speak on behalf of all the students here when I say that we hope that you come back to this campus often.
Sure. Thank you.
And on the behalf of the Tepper community, I'd like to present to you a special present that was made just for you. This is a Tepper quad photo collage made for you. We hope this reminds you of the vision that everyone here, as well as generations of Tepper students and alumni share for the school.
Great.
And here you go.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Are these your current students now?
That's the first year full-time class.
First year MBAs?
Yes,
Where are you?
in the back.
In the back. I can't see you in this class. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Right.
guys.
Awesome. I'm just going to announce that you'll be here for any questions or handshakes.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.